who was muted on YouTube. Okay, now we're unmuted. So, welcome everybody to Sex, Love, and Marriage, where we are live on 4 different platforms. You can find me on Clubhouse, you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on YouTube, and you can find me on Facebook, on my personal page as well as my private groups. Definitely feel free to share this live with anyone who you feel could benefit from the information or that can add some very good insight to this discussion. Because if you have been on any of my lives, you know that I am here to be heard. I am not here just to be right. These are only my opinions and my offer of free advice and help to you. So tonight, I'm really excited to talk about this topic. I know I say I'm excited all the time, but really, I am excited because I love all the topics that I talk about. So what I will say, crazy enough, is just now I was not live on Instagram, so they are a little bit behind. Sorry, Instagram, I'm live now for real this time. So tonight's topic is sensitive and emotional men. And before I dive head first into this here amazing pool of feelings and emotions, I'm going to give you a brief introduction of who I am. I'm going to give a quick shout out, and then we are going to get started. So again, if you are joining me, if you are here on Clubhouse, definitely feel free to raise your hand and come on up and be an interactive part of the discussion, or drop your questions or your comments in the chat. Feel free to, if you would prefer not to have your name mentioned. Absolutely, I totally understand. Same with Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Drop your information in the chat, your questions or your comments. Hey, baby. My husband just joined me here on Instagram. I always love to have him join. So my name is Kanya, for those that do not know, but I do go by the name of Coach K. I am a life coach and a certified clinical sexologist with 2 focal areas that I work on. I work with women and I work with couples. With women, I work in the space of helping them to and supporting them in understanding, guiding, and accepting their value, worth, and setting personal boundaries. And I do that through self-love, accountability, and truly showing them how to own their sexuality. Because when you own your sexuality, ladies, let's be real, you just show up differently. You're less likely to be wavered in the decisions that you want. And in the space of couples, I work with strengthening the intimacy literacy. So yes, the way that we communicate verbally and non-verbally to ensure that we are effectively communicating to get to that happy place of intimacy. So today is March the 8th. And if you have been under a rock or you just have not been on social media or Google or anything, then you may not know. Today is International Women's Day. So happy International Women's Day to all the ladies out there. If you need to adjust your crown, do what you got to do, celebrate yourself. Today's affirmation in my 30 days of her affirmation is, I am every woman. So tell yourself that as often as you need to. If you want to get your affirmations every single day this month, come on over to CoachK101.com. Now let's get into it. Sensitive and emotional men. I am 42 years old. So I grew up in Virginia, in Richmond, in the 80s. And what I did not see a lot of growing up was healthy emotions that were being expressed by men. I saw a lot of anger. That was an emotion that I saw a lot of. I saw frustration. I saw hurt, but it did not come out as hurt. It truly looked like just being mad. So those are some of the emotions that seemed to be okay for the men that was in my life to express. My father, he killed himself when I was 6 months. So I never knew him based on the stories that I've heard just over time, what I gathered from who he was that he was someone who had emotions and feelings that he did not know how to express. And so when he did express it, and if you really think about it, he was in his early 20s in the 80s. And so when he was actually born, that would have been in the 70s, where it wasn't, a thing to really express most emotions in a way of being vulnerable, being hurt, and being able to say it with, because let's be honest, maybe they didn't even know what that was. That anger that sometimes came out was probably hurt or frustration. And so, what I gather of who he was, just based on what I know that happened with him, is that I don't feel like he was able to properly express his actual emotions. And I feel like he was a pretty sensitive guy. I did not know my father at all. However, from what I gather and from the things that I've done and heard, I am a lot like my father. And I can be sensitive, but I do know how to control that. And one thing that I can say, and if you'll hear me talk about this kind of throughout our discussion, is when it comes to females, women, little girls, we are taught how to express ourselves when we're upset, when we're hurt, when we're frustrated, even when we're mad. We are given this polished kind of structure to live within, so that we know how we're supposed to express ourselves. I think of our counterparts, our little boys, our men, our young men. And I think about when a little boy falls and he begins to cry. The typical response is, "Oh, get up, you'll be okay. Stop crying. You all right. There's nothing wrong with you." And so from a very young age, what that teaches our little boys is, don't express that emotion that you're trying to express. Don't express that feeling of hurt, like physical hurt, that you're about to express, because you're just not supposed to. You'll be okay. Whereas if a little girl had fallen, scraped her knee, there's someone that's going to come to her aid, whether it be her mother, her father, her auntie, a neighbor. Someone's going to come to her aid to ensure that she's okay. And so that begs the question, why do we not give our men the space and the authority to express their emotions and be sensitive without a negative judgment or connotations around it? Why is it that if we see a male who may be more expressive of how they feel and they're trying to actually talk things through, you may see a female kind of bark at them and over talk them? And so what that does to this, maybe 20-year-old or 25-year-old who may be in a disagreement, or even in high school, maybe in a disagreement with a high emotional woman or female, is that again quashes his voice. It silences him from being able to fully express himself when he may be angry, upset, hurt, frustrated, which may revert to a feeling of, well, this is what happened to me when I was a little boy, when I was 8, and I got upset because my cousin kept picking on me, and when I cried because I was frustrated, I was just told to shut up, get over it, you don't need to be crying. So then we have the 8-year-old that turned to the 15-year-old or the 25-year-old that's now trying to get this approach. I'm now still trying to express myself. I'm trying to have this conversation with this female, and boom, I'm getting shut down again. So in their mind, are they thinking, okay, I'm not supposed to express myself. The only way that I can get this out is just through action. So then, maybe he grabs the young lady up by the arms to try to make her listen. Or maybe he goes and punches a wall. And then at that point, he's just this angry guy. People don't typically just turn angry. People don't typically just start punching walls. What we need to do as a whole, both men and women, is if we see another man who punches a wall, who starts to yell, who seems to want to grab somebody and shake them, we need to take a step back, take them with us on that step back, and we need to allow them the space, the authority, and the openness to speak about what it is that they're feeling. Now, what may happen is they may not know exactly what they're feeling. And so they may shut down in that moment because maybe they were never taught what these feelings feel like and how to properly speak them out to someone where they would understand. So that's where patience come into play. I do coaching with many couples. And for the most part, the couples that I've coached have been over the age of 40. And what I find is there's often a man who wants to speak about things, but he may not know exactly what to say or how to say it properly before the wife just jumps in and cuts him off at the knees. And so that's where I would come in and just say, whoa, let's back that up. I want him to finish his thought. What may not make sense to your partner at the time, with having a neutral third party to decipher that out and to ask enough questions to this man, which may help him to speak about what it is that he's actually feeling. So if you give a man the space, the authority, and the openness to simply express themselves as they need to, we would have a different, I think, environment just overall. We wouldn't have this talk of, oh, he's a simp. And to be honest, I don't even know what the real definition of that. I've heard it talked about. The guy, I won't even say his name, that's something that he put out in the world. He's usually on YouTube, and he talks about simp guys, guys who actually care about what their woman may want and care to express themselves openly. I think an emotional and a sensitive man is amazing. I love that my husband is open with me, that we can talk about any and everything. We have 2 sons. And if any of them are upset or if any of them cry, I'm not going to shut it down, but I am going to ask, what's going on? That's going to be your first step in helping us to have a world where emotional and sensitive men are accepted and it's okay. Because when I ask my sons what's going on, that allows their young minds, one is 10 and the other just turned 15. And we've been doing this since they were knee-high to a grasshopper. It allows their young male minds to think and begin to formulate words that matches their emotions. This teaches these young men that, yes, hey, it's okay to cry, but now I know why I'm feeling this way. Whereas before I was just mad. I just wanted to scream. I just wanted to pout. I just wanted to walk off, and I wanted to maybe quit the basketball team or quit the football team or whatever it is. I never want to talk to this person again. But when we give them the space and the authority to be in control of their feelings and be just give them the time and space to give permission of vulnerability, which is a huge strength that we don't realize. The strength of vulnerability is so huge, but it starts young. It starts wherever you need to meet this man at. A man who's able to cry is simply a man that has feelings and emotions. And if you are in no way okay with a man who's able to express emotion and show sensitivity, then you need to go look at yourself in the mirror and find out why you're not able to accept something. Maybe you weren't allowed to express emotion. Maybe you weren't given the time, the space, and the vulnerability to be sensitive to something. Because the reality is, every single one of us that is listening, every single one of us that is not listening, every single one of us that is a human being on this earth has a set of emotions, has a set of feelings that you may not know exactly how to express them all the time. But based on your gender, you may be given the time and space to do it, whereas someone else was not. So if you find that you are in a place where you see someone who may not be able to express that, you give them that time and space. I think about the amount of men who have thought about ending their life. It's probably higher than one would like to even think. And if you dig further down into the statistics, or even just talking to a male, it's usually going to come down to an emotion or feeling that they bottled up inside, that they were not given the time, space, and authority of vulnerability to let out properly in a healthy way. If you go into the prison system and you talk to some of the men who are there behind violent crimes and even crimes of passion, I would say ask them when they were little how they were taught to express their emotion. If they were to fall or if the cousin was picking on them, what would have been the response from the adult in the room? I can almost say that an overwhelming amount would have been, oh, when I got picked on, I just had to shut up. Just had to deal with it. And eventually I stopped saying something and I just started hitting back. How bullies begin to form, usually from some kind of frustrative place, especially in elementary school, leading into middle school, where our youth are not given the time, the space, and the authority of vulnerability to properly express their feelings, to properly display their emotions in a healthy and positive way. Because typically they will not get attention until the moment that they have expressed themselves emotionally in a negative and unhealthy way. That's when they get the most attention. So to the ladies out here who is looking for I want me a man's man. That man's man should be able to be vulnerable, should be able to express emotion to you. That is a well-rounded man. If you are with a man or a male that seems to just get triggered super easy, seems to get frustrated super easy. And through that frustration, rarely gives you a conversation of what they're actually feeling, then that's the conversation that you need to have. Maybe you need to walk them through what is going on. I can see it in your face. You seem frustrated. What's frustrating you? What can we talk about? Sometimes you don't even know what questions to ask. And the more questions you ask, maybe they get triggered even more. Don't press too hard. If it seems like they're going to shut down, then back up. Wait 24 to 48 hours and ask again. Ask it differently. Make it an open-ended question. That feeling that you had yesterday, can you help me to understand what it was? When did it start? And how can I support you in ensuring that you don't feel like that moving forward? Because the question that you don't ask is the one that gets bottled up inside and gets added to the frustration. There's no harm in asking a question. It allows the other person to open up when they're ready and in their time. Everybody won't be ready immediately because, again, we don't know everyone's upbringing. We don't know how many times they were told to shut up when they cried. We don't know how many times they were told to just be quiet when they were just trying to simply say, this person is picking on me. I am being bullied. We don't know that. So every angry person is not always angry. They could just be frustrated. It could simply just be hurt. And if we can allow our women to be hurt and frustrated and express it, then we damn sure should be able to do the same thing for our men. It's just a matter of balance, understanding, and communication. Everything always seems so simple, right? So as always, I don't like to keep you guys too long. I always like to have these conversations at least, and I do this every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you go to Clubhouse as well as Instagram, you can see all of the topics that I have that are they're out through May, the first week in May. All the topics are there. If there's ever a topic that you want to hear about, shoot me a message and let me know. I'll be more than happy to put it on the list. If you are a professional who would like to come on and speak about a specific topic, let me know. The audience would love to hear from you. If you are catching the live or the replay, number one, for the replay, #replay, let me know your thoughts. If you're live, #live and let me know your thoughts. Feedback is very important to me. I love to hear other people's perspectives because, again, I'm not here to be right. I'm here to be heard and to get conversation started. So I definitely appreciate that you were here with me today. And so on next Tuesday, which is March the 15th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the topic is going to be about work wives and work husbands. Is that still a thing? And how it affects your relationship. I definitely appreciate you being here with me on this Tuesday night for Sex, Love, and Marriage, where every single week I bring you a new topic on all things sex, love, and marriage. Feel free to join the Facebook group, Sex, Love, and Marriage. If you are a lady, women only, you can join the Own Your Ish Sis Facebook group. You can just go over to CoachK101.com and join. If you have not already, definitely go over to Amazon, grab your copy of the 5 Characteristics of a Stimulating Relationship. If you want to get me to send you that link, just let me know. This is a great relationship guide. It will help you to get a lot of conversations started. It is a workbook for you and your partner. And if you have not gotten into a relationship yet, it is a really good guidebook just for you. We have our Foods and Love Couples Retreat that is happening at the end of this month. Super excited. Where we're going to be doing a deeper dive into communication. We're going to be talking about sex and intimacy. And we have a lot of activities planned that's going to be all about getting these types of conversations started. So, again, if you are ready to get your one-on-one appointment scheduled, you can go to loveandintimacy101.com or simply whichever platform that you're listening to right now, just shoot me a message and I'll get back with you. So you have been with Coach K, your favorite life coach and certified sexologist, on this Tuesday night for Sex, Love, and Marriage. And I will catch all of you next week. Again, happy International Women's Day to all the ladies. You all are amazing. But start supporting our men. Start allowing them the space to be emotional and to express themselves and be sensitive in a healthy way. Be the teachers that we were created to be, so that they can be the leaders that they were created to be. All right. Good night, everybody.